Hello, so I'm just going to make a quick revision video on the domestic division of labour or conjugal roles. And yeah, I've got notes in front of me, so I'm just going to basically go through it in chronological order so I can just consolidate all in my mind. And I may or may not upload this to YouTube. Yeah. Okay, so we start off with Youngin Wilmot, who were functionalists in the 1950s, and they had the idea that conjugal. Oh, they identify patterns of segregated conjugal roles, and segregated conjugal roles is basically an unequal division of labour between men and women in the house. So it's like perhaps women have to do the expressive role. They have to look after the house, look after the children, look after the husband, which links to Parsons' One Bath theory, and the man has to fulfill the instrumental role, go out to work and earn money. And yeah, often men would spend their leisure time with their work friends in the pub, and women would spend their leisure time with other females, and they wouldn't really, I guess, spend much time together as a family. But yeah, so then Elizabeth Bott comes along, and she's a feminist, and she basically criticised Youngin Wilmot's idea about this by saying that there is another type of conjugal roles, which is joint conjugal roles, and this basically means the shared division of labour between men and women. So it's basically the idea that men and women are becoming more equal, and rather than doing distinctly separate jobs and roles and things like that, they do similar ones. So they perhaps spend more leisure time together. They share the housework. They'll do all that stuff. Yeah, and then we go to 1973. So those two things were from the 1950s. 1973, Young and Wilmot again. Okay, so they did a study called the Symmetrical Family, and this was basically the idea that there's a gradual trend of society of the symmetrical family becoming the dominant type of family, and the symmetrical family is basically the idea that of joint conjugal roles, because the man and the woman now they share housework. It's pretty much 50-50 in the eyes of Young and Wilmot. And okay, they say that there's four reasons for the changes, and one is changes in women's position, and so this includes legislation and the ability for women to actually go out to work and earn money. So they're no longer necessarily expected to just stay in the house and look after the children and look after the housework because of these changing attitudes and values. Geographical mobility is basically the idea that the nuclear family allows the family to move away from the extended family. So because they're so far away from the extended family, the man helps out more with the housework. New technology, and this is commercialization of housework, and it's basically the idea that now we have washing machines, dishwashers, and these all make it a lot easier to do housework. So some men have less of a problem of, I guess, participating. Higher standards of living, people have more money. Yeah. Okay, and then Oakley comes along in 1974, a year after. She's a feminist, and she criticised Young and Wilmot's study of the symmetrical family due to partially their research method, because Young and Wilmot, they only asked one question, whereas Anne Oakley, she went into households and actually did open interviews with the housewives, so she could find out a lot more information and get some, I guess, probe for a deeper insight, sort of. And what she found was that the modern man is a myth, and the modern man is basically like a male feminist or a male who fulfills stereotypically female roles. And so she interviews 40 housewives and found that 15% of men had a high participation in housework, and only 25% had high levels of involvement in childcare. So that's obviously quite different to what Young and Wilmot said about the symmetrical family and joint conjugal roles being, I guess, dominant in society. Okay. Then we go to Mary Bolton in 1983, and she was also a feminist. Okay, and she said that 20% of men had, less than 20% of men had a major role in childcare, and she basically criticises the Symmetrical Family from Youngin Wilmot, saying that they exaggerated the male contributions. The father helps with specific tasks, but the mother essentially is responsible for the security and well-being of the children. So the father might participate in perhaps easy jobs like playing with the children, whereas it's actually the mother who's doing all the important things. Yeah. Okay, Ward and Hetherington, I always forget these ones, in 1993 were feminists, I think, I don't know, that might be an assumption that I've written down here. And they had the idea of sex typing of domestic tasks is still strong, and sex typing is basically just like stereotyping, I guess, like stereotypical gender roles, and like, because we assume that certain roles are suited to certain genders, like the wife is supposed to do the housework and the man is supposed to go out to work. Okay, what they found was that the wives are 30 times more likely to be the last to have washed the pots or washed the dishes, and the husband was 4 times more likely to have washed the car. And these two things are seen like washing a car is more of a man's job than washing the pots, I guess. But I don't know if this is necessarily still the case, because this was in 1993, and my granddad washes the pots a lot. But yeah, that's anecdotal. Okay, basically they also found that men only did the female role when the wife was absent. Okay, however, young men acknowledged that they didn't do their fair share of housework, and they didn't assume it was just the women's job. So perhaps when they weren't helping out around the house as much, they acknowledged the fact that they should be helping out more. So it's not like they were just putting it all on the woman and saying this is your job. It's like, no, they were just being lazy about it, I guess. Okay, now I'm gonna have to use this probably because I haven't finished my mind map. I haven't finished anything in my life. Okay. The British Attitudes Survey 2013. Is there evidence that Parsons' ideas about instrumental and expressive roles are outdated? And no, there isn't, because in 1944, 1% of men did expressive work, and in 2012, 5% of men did expressive work. So in the last 50 years or so, there's only been a 4% increase in the amount of men who were fulfilling a stereotypically female gender role in the household, and that's not really a big increase if you think about it, and it's an extremely small number in the first place. So there's that. So it's still relevant today. The amount of women who do the laundry has decreased by 9%, but it's still 70% who do it. So yeah, again, that's another quite unequal thing. And I'm not saying that I disagree with any of this or agree with it, but yeah, I'll just leave my opinions out. Okay, I haven't done any of this, so I'm just gonna have a quick read through and then I'll pick up in a minute. Okay, what is the March of Progress's view on the impact of paid work? And basically, they found that more women are going out to work, so which is leading to a more, I guess, the Symmetrical Family, which was Wilmot and Young's findings. And so yeah, so it's like men and women are taking are sharing roles equally within the household, and yeah, but that's not really the case though, is it? Because we've just discussed a minute ago about the British Attitude Survey saying that there are still quite a lot of inequalities within the household. Okay, what do feminists believe? Okay, now women, not only are they doing the majority of the housework and the majority of the childcare, but they're also going out to work. So now they've got a dual burden or a triple shift. And a dual burden is basically the idea that they have to do both paid work and unpaid work, and domestic work. So, and a triple shift is the idea that they have to clean the house, look after the children, and go to work. So, yeah. So women haven't really, they're still not really liberated, are they? Okay. Right, and the idea of a triple shift was by the feminists Duncombe and Marsden, and I've just explained what that was. So they had to go out and do paid work, and then they had to do emotional work, and they had to do domestic work. So they had to do all that. And yeah, that's it. I think that's pretty much all of it. I need to finish off my beautiful mind map that I've been doing. That's really aesthetic. I never create my maps, but I decided to because I was revising with my sister, so I thought I'd make one, and it's quite pretty. Okay, yeah, if you've enjoyed watching, then leave a like. This is purely for my own benefit and anyone else who does sociology and they want to watch this video for revision, then yeah, thank you for watching.